Visit Rollingwood City Hall Garden yourself and meet one of the designers on the Garden Conservancy's Open Days Tour on October 17th. You can find out more at gardenconservancy.org. And right now we're going to take a spin around the color wheel with Max Munoz. He is the Director of Operations from the National Butterfly Center down in Mission, Texas. And welcome back.
Thank you for having me here.
No, it's a real pleasure. You came on the show when the center was first getting underway.
Yes,
I'm sure you've been busy.
We've been pushing plants. We've been trying to garden as much as we can.
Yeah, well, it's a great idea, and and we have the National Wildflower Center here in Texas, now the National Butterfly Center. It's a great pairing, I think.
It sure is.
Okay, well, when I say take a spin around the color wheel, we're going to talk about kind of the colors of the rainbow, because literally they all attract butterflies, right?
Yes. There is no bad color.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever think that there is a bad color, that particular flower will have a color within that color to attract butterflies.
Okay, so there are some wives' tales out there that say avoid this color, use that color.
We've heard them all. We've heard several. One of them was the purple, the color purple.
All right.
And we can actually talk about the different plants that attract so many butterflies. And they are purple.
Okay, well, let's do it. Let's start with purples. A lot of these will range from purples to pinks, right?
Yes, it all depends on how you look at it. I've seen some plants and people will say, well, it was a purple one. And I have it and I call it a pink, so it all depends.
It depends on the viewer.
Yes.
Now, there's a plant that we've never talked about. It's called tube tongue.
Yes.
And this sounds like a great garden plant on top of a great butterfly plant.
I actually use it in our gardens there at the National Butterfly Center as a ground coverage.
Okay.
There's areas where you plant a very nice tree. For example, I have a soapberry tree.
Okay.
And nothing underneath grows really nice because it creates pretty good shade.
Right.
So then I place tube tongue under it, and tube tongue does wonder in the shade.
Okay.
It starts growing, and then all of a sudden you see just a purple or pink color all around you.
Okay. All right, so a fantastic ground cover.
It is.
And I understand this blooms pretty much year-round.
Pretty much, depending on where you place it.
Okay.
If the first thing you have to do before gardening is making sure you know where you're going to place it to make sure you're going to have enough shade or enough sun.
Okay.
Also understand what the plant needs.
Sure.
And the tube tongue is one that loves the shade.
Okay, very
So
good.
if you have it under shade and you water it just the right amount, not too much because you don't want to rot anything under that, and you don't want to give it too little water, depending on also where you live.
Sure.
And you will have a wonderful plant that will give you flowers and butterflies through the whole year.
What butterflies does it attract?
It attracts some of the smaller ones. For example, some of the hair streaks, the smaller hair streaks. It does attract a lot of border patch on it too.
Okay.
Now, border
Beautiful
patch
butterflies.
uses it. Yes, very beautiful. The border patch uses it as a nectar source, so you get to see a lot of that.
All right. Well, let's talk about some other purple and pink ones. I love the horse mints.
Oh, horse mints are wonderful. This time of year, since it's summer, they start dying back.
Sure.
But in the spring, I mean, you see a field of purples all around, purple and whites.
All right. Glorious plant, and again, it usually mixed in with a lot of other colors, in nature.
In nature, you will find it, in a wildflower patch. There at the center, if you come to the center, at the pavilion itself, we have a wildflower refugium, and you will find the Indian blanket, the bee balm, or
horse mint.
And the combination of the purple and the yellows is just wonderful.
It's a great combination.
Yes.
But it's a tough as nails plant, very easy to grow from seed, and one that every Texas gardener should be using.
And it's one that we use because every year we get a beautiful garden.
Right.
So it is a great plant.
Now, I love passion vines, and while we're talking about purples, we've got to mention the passion vines. And this attracts the Gulf fritillaries and a lot of others.
Well, it is the host plant for the Gulf fritillary.
Right.
You can get Mexican fritillary or just all the fritillaries on it. Long wings like the zebra heliconians.
Those are beautiful.
They come to it too. And not only is it a good, host, but the flower itself is just amazing. Yes. It's very pretty.
It's almost like an alien, but it's a really superb plant. Now, you also had some reds that you want to talk about, and there's one called the musk flower that I've never seen before, I don't think.
Well, this particular plant, I stumbled into it a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I was walking the bank of a canal, and I saw this pretty red color. And on it was a large swallowtail.
Okay.
So I figured, well, why not try it? I went and picked up the root on it, placed it in one of my gardens, and then I kept doing the same thing over and over until I had a real nice patch.
Right.
And it's a beautiful red color. And like I said, the larger swallowtails will come to it, the bigger butterflies will. So it's a really good plant.
Right. Okay. And this is one that I've not seen in the trade, but hopefully you can help introduce it
Well,
to.
we're working on that. We're working on being able to have it, available for anybody who needs it.
There's a hibiscus relative as well that you use, and these attract a lot of butterflies.
Yes, the heartleaf hibiscus.
Right.
The heartleaf hibiscus is one that a lot of people have a lot of hard time trying to propagate. But we worked a way to, to propagate it easier.
Okay.
And it has worked for us, but it is a beautiful red color.
Yeah.
And it does attract a lot of butterflies. One note that you'll see there is a lot of sulfurs. So it is a wonderful plant to have in your garden.
A sulfur butterfly on that color would be beautiful to see.
It just stands out.
Yeah, right. Really beautiful. Now, there's lots of oranges and yellows that we can talk about. I always think that oranges are, I've heard, I think people say that orange is the #1 color, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, at the National Butterfly Center, we do have all of these colors, but the orange is not used as much.
Oh, really? Okay.
You'll see it on like honeysuckles. You'll see the calico, the Texas lantana.
Yeah.
The Flamicanthus.
Right.
And they do attract a lot of butterfly, but it's very limited on how many plants will attract that much.
Okay. Well, interesting.
But they are good nectar sources, though.
Well, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of. I like the Mexican flame vine, the Senecio.
That is one of our favorite.
Yeah.
That is one that you can plant and cover a whole wall, say a fence, and not only will you have butterflies, but hummingbirds. The hummingbirds go crazy.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes. I actually did a little test, and I placed that red dyed liquid for hummingbirds and the sugar water that you create at home.
Right.
And they chose the Senecio, which is the flame vine.
Yeah. Well, it's a spectacular plant and a very bright, cheery color.
The flowers are just amazing.
Yeah. Well, yellows fall into this kind of range as well, and there's a ton of yellows, and the Gaillardias and the Coreopsis and a whole bunch of other things fall into that category.
We do use a lot of Gaillardias because not only are they beautiful, the color stands out.
Oh yeah.
But it is a really good nectar source too.
Okay. Well, and even white, I understand, can be a good one.
Very good. I don't know if you know plumbago, the white plumbago.
Of course. Yeah.
The white plumbago is one that it attracts so many butterflies.
Right.
We use it all over. Frog fruit, another ground coverage.
Right. Yeah.
It attracts a lot of the smaller butterflies.
A very dainty little flower.
Yes.
It's kind of a homely little plant, but it works.
It does, and it works really good to create a ground coverage where you can have a patio, or you can actually mow over it.
Right.
And it withstands the heat. It's a really good plant.
Well, real briefly, I understand it's real important to have nectar sources as well as food sources for them.
You don't want to have just one because let's say you have a host plant.
Right.
Let's say you have a milkweed, right? And butterfly comes over, lays the egg, and it starts eating the plant. Once that plant is gone, the butterfly is gone.
Right.
So if you have both of them, your host plant and your nectar source,
you hold on to them year round.
You will.
Okay.
You create the life cycle.
Well, we speaking of this, we got to wrap it up. But I really appreciate you coming back on.
My pleasure.
Best wishes to you and the folks down at the National Butterfly Center.
You.
I hope a lot of our Central Texas viewers will pay you a visit.
Sounds very good.
Okay. Thanks again. And coming up next is our friend Daphne.